Hey guys, this is Renae, and this is another episode of the Space Between podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. So if you are listening to this on your favorite podcast app, just know that you can also watch this on my YouTube channel, which is simply just the Space Between podcast. So I want to make sure that you are following all the information. So if you're on social media, you'll definitely want to follow us on Facebook. It's a group, the Space Between podcast. And on Instagram, you can follow us at the Space Between _POD. So as you can see, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, I have two guests with me today. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, tell us who you are, where you are, and like where your relationship with the Dave Matthews Band started.
My name is Kyle Preby. I am from the suburbs of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So Alpine's been my home venue for quite some time. Right now, currently, I am in Scottsdale. So I'm in the Valley, but I'm from Wisconsin. Kind of been chasing the band since 2005, 2006, and it's been a pretty beautiful ride the entire time to now 2023.
Sloan Allison. I live in Maui, Hawaii currently. From Chattanooga, Tennessee. So got to see shows all over the South. Deer Creek's kind of my home venue though, and been seeing the band there since 2008. Been following the boys around for a long time. Got hooked up with Kyle and the rest of the crew at Gorge 2016 and haven't really looked back. So stoked to be on, Renae. Thanks for having us.
Sloan was our neighbor in 2016. We drove out there. It was brutal. The drive was brutal, but he ended up being our neighbors. We kind of connected, and now we have this incredible family.
And that is just isn't it beautiful that that's such a common story within this fan group, is that people do just meet other people and it becomes not only just a friend group, but exactly like what you said, it becomes family. So today we are going to talk about all things 2023. And if you have been a fan this year, well, if this is your first year to be a fan, welcome to a banner year in Dave Matthews Band history. But if this is your 20th, 30th, 32nd year, whatever it is, this is an amazing year. And so we didn't want this year to go past without talking about it. And of course, right before the fall tour, when is a better time to talk about what happened in the summer? So guys, I want you to just tell me, looking back in 2023, no matter how many you went to, we had the opportunity to, of course, watch on Couch Tour, listen on Friday nights. What were some things that stuck out to you in 2023 that you think will always be a memory that you'll always kind of go back to when you think about this year?
For myself, I crossed the 100 marker. So obviously that's a big milestone within everybody that, chases Dave. So it was, I was so glad to be able to do that. For a while, I didn't, looking back on it, I didn't even think that would be possible, but I did it. And looking back at the 2023 tour, something that really stood out to me that I didn't even think was going to happen was the liberation of full ABI. I originally first heard it in 2006. I want to say Alpine, but when they brought that back, night one SPAC, as you've seen in the videos, everybody just freaks out. And you knew within those first few notes that it was full ABI. As we all know, it was, part of Line in the Hands of God, outro, but we got the full version back. And the whole place went nuts. And then it kind of stayed for the rest of the tour. So for me, that moment was really special, and I'll never forget that.
Absolutely.
I will literally remember that forever.
And here's a perk of watching this on YouTube, as we are attaching a video to this right now that Kyle has shared with us. So this is a video of the first time American Baby Intro made its debut since 2011. And of course, that was in SPAC earlier this year. So if you're watching this, enjoy watching it. If not, but you'll get to listen to it.
Yeah,
Was
that
that?
was amazing, amazing clip from Jones. Yeah, Jones Beach. That was actually from our good friend Lauren. She's all things taking video. I think she actually does it professionally. So she sent me that to it's a Dave thing page, and I mean she was in the pit more towards the rail and just caught an unbelievable version of it. You obviously could see that Dave's energy. Probably playing that maybe for the second or third time since they brought it back. Just pure magic.
He looks like such a rock star in that video. And when I saw it on Instagram, I was like, oh my God, I literally have to have a copy of that just so I can go back. But like he just looks like the rock star that he is when he was playing that. So that was special. Like I agree with you. ABI was exciting. I can remember standing there. It was my first year to go to SPAC. And so not only was it just a lot to figure out because it is kind of a different kind of venue, but compared to what I knew. And so I remember standing there my first night, of course, night one, when they played it, I was standing in the lawn. And if you know about the lawn at SPAC, I was in the section where the stage was just like this small. And so I couldn't really see what was going on. But when I heard the first note, I remember just looking to the side going, no, this is not right. This can't be what I'm hearing. Like I'm losing my brain. Like it's not American Baby intro. And it just kept going. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And I would love to see a video of me just losing my shit because there was like a lot of college people around me where I was standing. And so unless their parents were just big fans of the Dave Matthews Band, I doubt that they had ever heard this song. So I'm just like, swimming in a sea of people that are just watching me. And I could not be more happy in that moment. And of course, night one just went on and on and on. So SPAC was amazing this year. But
Yeah, and
that was such an amazing moment. But yes, Jones Beach was amazing as well.
Well, I think the
incredible.
footage, the footage from that Jones Beach ABI was, I don't know who took that video, Kyle. It's unreal.
Our friend Lauren took that and sent it to me. And she's like, I got some amazing footage of it. I was like, I'd love to see it. And I was just like, wow, holy shit.
So good.
Unreal.
I always love to see him looking specifically at Buddy to see his reaction of different parts of different songs. Just because a lot of times it's his first time experiencing it. And so getting that kind of small moment between those two guys is it's always kind of special he's like, check this shit out, dude. And it's like, it's incredible.
That chemistry and Buddy kind of had an intro there, like into the ABI there. So he kind of came into that and I thought it evolved great. But Sloan, you might know this a little better than I do. You obviously play, but when they first brought ABI back at SPAC, he did it on a baritone, and I don't think he usually did it on that baritone.
He didn't.
So
I didn't expect it. Yeah,
I didn't expect it until those first notes played, and then everybody knew.
Well, to your point about Buddy, it was always Butch Taylor always had a major role in that song back in the day, specifically those 06 versions. You can go back and listen, and I mean, Butch, he doesn't carry the song, but he's a major part of it. And so to kind of feel and see Buddy's, role grow as the song, I think they played it 5 times, and it just seemed like he got more comfortable each time.
Hello, everybody. This is Dave Rich from the Eddie Casino Band out in Las Vegas. We're really excited to get this journey going, celebrating our music, our original music, on all platforms. We just released our first single over Labor Day weekend called Eddie Casino. If you're looking for new music, look out for our next single coming out to Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Apple Music. These guys in the band are really excited to get started playing music for you all. If you like Tom Petty, Zach Brown, Jason Mraz, Dave Matthews Band, Rob Thomas, Jimmy Buffett, Pink Floyd, Stapleton, Bare Naked Ladies, Goose, Billy Strings, Sting and the Police, a ton of influences that we bring to the table. Hope you enjoy our music and look forward to seeing you soon live on stage.
So, Sloan, tell me some highlights from your 2023 experience. What are some things that stick out to you?
So pretty unique year for me. Since I live in the middle of Pacific Ocean, it's kind of hard to get to shows, but I
Yes.
tend to keep up with, what's going on with the set, especially East Coast shows, because it's kind of the middle of my day. And so if I'm, doing computer work or, specifically the Fridays, I was always playing golf for the Sirius XM show. So I would always have those playing in my cart, and especially when the boys were like Kyle guys were at the shows, and it was just a lot easier to keep up with what they were playing because I knew I had, some of my friends there. To me, something changed Deer Creek night one. The sets were kind of normal and normal album year, and everything was just kind of happening normal. They were repeating openers. I don't know, it was just kind of a normal tour. And then Deer Creek night one, they faked Madman's Eyes, and then they also faked Satellite. And for whatever reason, that like spun the tour into something that was just completely unpredictable. And ABI obviously sticks out the most just because, I don't know, everyone seemed to be there, and the shock factor of that moment. But in terms of the band and what they were doing, I thought that week and the weekend in Noblesville was pretty crazy. And then night two there, I think, didn't the show get shortened? You were there, weren't you, Kyle?
Yeah, I think it got shortened a little bit. I forgot what they cut. I mean, you could look at Almanac or
There was
kind of
only,
see the
there were
sets there.
16 songs that night, the second night.
Well, there was weather
So
coming
it
in or
was a
something.
shorter night.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
That's
that's right.
right.
That's right.
There was weather. There was weather, and then I forget, they obviously played
Well, they played Last
to
Stop.
finish.
Or no, they played Halloween. They did
Yeah,
Halloween. They did Halloween.
yeah,
Halloween.
they did
Halloween.
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 They did Halloween for all of us, and absolute banger. So
Yeah.
no one obviously expected that to happen. But yeah, it was that weather. They had weather coming in. I remember Dave came out and apologized, and they kind of had to get off the stage, but they definitely changed the setup to kind of give the people what they wanted for a short show. But that's just Dave. Just Dave trying to please us all.
I think it's amazing that this is what you said, Sloan, because right before you got on camera, I literally told these things to Kyle. I was like, I think the tour turned around in Deer Creek, and here's the reasons why. And so it's right? We're right when more than one person says it. So
Yeah.
yes, Deer Creek is when this all turned
100%.
around. And I call that weekend like where we kind of learned the art of the fake, because in my mind, I had not heard such a blatant fake as when it went from Madman's Eyes into Minarets, and then again from Satellite into So Damn Lucky. Like, it was just so blatant. Like, they were fucking with us, right? For lack of better words. Like, that is what they were doing. And I loved it. I thought it was
It's
amazing.
trolling.
Dave's a troll.
He's trolling.
Dave's a troll.
Trolling.
He's a troll. He loves to like. I'm sure he loves seeing people run to the bathroom at the opening chords of Satellite, the opening notes, and then seeing everybody run back when he started So Damn Lucky. It just has to be something that there can't be a feeling that he can recreate that is that way. It's just this power he has over the entire venue, 20,000 people, and I don't know, it's amazing. I love seeing footage of that from the lawn at Creek, and Satellite starts, and you see a bunch of people running out of the upper pavilion to the bathroom, and then So Damn Lucky starts, and here they come right back. It's like amazing.
I love
And he
it.
knows we all expect that. We know these songs so well, and obviously he talks amongst the band within their mics or their earpieces, and he's like, all right, we're gonna do this, and he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And that's the best part.
So personally, I only got to go to the Gorge this year, and night two it's probably one of my favorite Dave days of all time. But when he played Just Breathe in the encore,
Yes.
I think the whole world stopped. It just was like the entire venue just was so quiet, and he just, I don't know, he did something that you weren't expecting at all, and for whatever reason, that moment it's one of my favorite moments ever from a concert. It just, I don't know, we were all just blown away.
Right, and especially in spite of everything that was going on in the world that time, with the loss of some other musicians, and just the state of where we were as a nation. Dave said, I heard this earlier, and I'm going to play it. whether or not he practiced it or not, it was so fitting for that moment. And for me, I don't think you could hear a pin drop in there.
I agree. I mean, we were all there, and yeah,
Yeah, you were
it
with
was.
Renae. You were with us.
I know we were. I think we were all in the pit night too. What a night to get to do that. It will be a night that I'll never forget. Of course, that was my very first gorge, so it was a lot anyways. But I mean, it's true about what they say when it comes to the set list. That is why people continue to go back to the gorge. Yes, it's beautiful and it's got all the things, but also the set lists are historically better at the gorge. And so, I mean, it was proved again this year. So I wrote down just a few things. Since I asked you guys, like, what were some top moments for 2023? You stole a lot of mine, so I'm going to have to kind of go down the line here. But one thing that was very memorable for me, and again, I kind of had a banner year myself. I got to go to 22 shows this tour,
wow.
which is never going to happen again. So I'm so thankful.
Never say never.
Never say never. Never say never. Never say never.
I mean, I'm probably not going to, based on my employers, no, you're not doing that again. So unless the Dave Matthews Band wants to hire me, I'm stuck at home. Okay, so some of my favorite moments from 2023 were just the guests that we had, or at least that I got to see in 2023. Not only did we get Zach Brown in Nashville, which was amazing. I got to see Bella Fleck, Warren Haynes, and let's talk about Warren Haynes. Not only did I get him once, I got him twice. I got Melissa.
That's right. He did back to back.
I got so many amazing songs that, honestly, the first night which I guess would have been at
was it Homedale? Was it Homedale, then Jones Beach?
Yeah, Homedale.
Yeah, they did Warren back to back.
They did, which was such a surprise, and I didn't think was going to happen because it was like a weekday show and then followed like a week. I don't know. So it was very planned, right? It seemed like so. And then, of course, Joe Lawler, of course, played with them, which I think is still just a treat. But then, of course, the next guest that sticks out to me is Sierra Farrell at the Gorge when she did Long Black Veil. I thought it was really done well.
That was
they
nice.
did justice to the song. It was beautiful. And
cheeks
so
out.
that really did stick out to me.
Cheeks
it was
out.
really, really good.
Yeah, it was nice.
Cheeks out.
It was nice. I did not see Long Black Veil coming. And I mean, obviously that was another song that blew away the crowd.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about Spoon with Molly Tuttle. I mean, right? Amazing. I mean, we kind of thought Spoon, it started late in the tour on the West Coast. Where was it? I don't know.
Yamava.
Oregon, California,
Yamava?
somewhere. Right over there.
Yeah,
Yamava,
the casino show.
Yeah.
And then you followed up with Irvine.
So, of course,
it opened
we
at
did
Irvine.
At night one. Oh,
yeah, it opened at Irvine.
There we go.
Yeah.
I mean, they held out all tour until the very end, which I love that about them. But we wanted it all year, and they gave it to us, of course, at the Gorge as well with Molly Tuttle. And then I want to say right after that, and I cannot remember this girl's name, and I failed to write it down, but she played the fiddle, the violin with Ants towards the end of the Gorge, and I can't remember what night that was. But what did you think about having someone play that with them?
For sure.
So we saw it at Hollywood Bowl last year, and I can't remember her name either, and I feel terrible. It's Brian Calhoun's ex-wife, and but now she's with the guitar player for Incubus. And when
Anna Marie, for sure.
When they brought out the ensemble to play the 4 songs each night, she was sitting right in the very front, right in front of us. And so we noticed her, and we were like, first chair, she's amazing. Like, we just kept calling her first chair. And then when she came back out to play Ants, we were just freaking. And I love the fiddle on Ants. It's a weird thing to hear now, since BT is gone. But for all intents and purposes, I did like the Hollywood Bowl version last year compared to this year. I didn't think I just for whatever reason, I liked it a little better. I did love
Yeah.
that Molly Tuttle played the guitar on Spoon, because the other guests I've
Absolutely.
seen, they don't play. Most guests don't play when they're just up there singing. And so I thought it was really cool that she knew the chords, and even for Ants, she was able to keep up, and you could tell she knew and had practiced and she knew the song. And so,
Right. And
yeah.
Molly, obviously winning a Grammy, you just know how talented she was. And for her, obviously, to play the songs and come in the way she did, you know, it just shows how good of a musician and the true gift that she has.
What's up, everybody? This is David with the Dave Matthews Tribute Band. We're a nationally touring tribute to DMB, playing shows all over the country and beyond. Our goal is to bring you back to the classic sound that you fell in love with in the 90s and the 2000s, featuring a violin, saxophone, and maybe some keyboards sprinkled in as well. You can find out information about all of our tours and shows by visiting thedmtb.com. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram and other socials by searching the Dave Matthews Tribute Band or the DMTB. Hope to see you on the road and enjoy the Space Between podcasts.
She is amazing. So let's back up all the way to the very beginning. Well, we're not going to say it's the very beginning of 2023 because, of course, the band opened in Mexico, had 3 dates, I think, something like that. And then, of course, the U.S. opener was in the Woodlands early May of 2023. So, you know, it's always a question of what are they going to start the tour out with? Like, how are they going to set the tone? And so this year, of course, they open up with Bismarck. Which had Kyle and I talked about this just previously. It had been 7 years since there was a full band Bismarck. And so it was a surprise for me. I mean, thankfully I was able to be there. And when I heard it, I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised. Let me say that. So what were y'all's thoughts? Did you watch? Did you get to tune in that day? Were you there? And what are your thoughts of, like, do you think that opening with that song kind of set the tone for the rest of the year and kind of said, hey, here's what we're going to do?
I was actually there. I think previously I mentioned that it was, my 100th show. For them to open up Bismarck, I definitely didn't expect that or see that coming. So hearing that, actually, to be honest, I'm not a big phone guy, but shout out to DB. I recorded that whole song. I think I went live on it, and I don't hear the end of it. Like, I had my phone, my hands up, my wrist probably got sprained holding the phone up. But I didn't expect that to come. I didn't expect that song at all, but it showed that this tour was probably going to be something special with them just opening up with a song that nobody expected.
I agree. What are your thoughts, Sloan, on Bismarck?
So 2016, when the song first started coming around, I liked it. It wasn't my favorite of those songs that year. I think it was that song, Bob Law, Samurai Cop, and I think there's one more I'm missing, but it wasn't my favorite. I actually did see it open a show in Birmingham that year, and I thought it actually worked as an opener. And when I saw it, the notification pop up on my phone, it just to open a tour with that song just was funny. Dave just he knows what he's doing, and whether people liked it or not, it was a shock factor that, you know, got eyes back onto the band and onto the tour, and overall, I think it was a good thing that it was played.
They used that. They did Bismarck, I want to say, a few times to open. So, I mean,
it opened 6 times of the 7 times it was played. So, which is interesting,
yeah.
But
Wow.
It kind of just eases. I bet it was something for them that they could just kind of ease into the show a little bit, and, you know, Dave kind of plays the whole first verse alone, and then the band kind of eases in behind him, and it's probably just a nice way to open a show for them as well.
next segment where we're going to compare a couple of years. All of these years are album release years. So we often think on an album release year that we're going to hear just albums or a lot of the new album. And I think this year they did a really good job of mixing old and new, as we've just talked about. So what we're going to do next is compare 2023 to some past album release years, 2018, 2013, and 2009. So guys, I'm going to let you lead this conversation. Can we do some comparisons of this year to previous album release years?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Obviously, this year at least, the most played songs were from the new album, "Madman's Eyes" and "Looking for a Vein." I do think it's interesting to mention that this was Buddy's, I think, 4th year with the band, maybe 5th, and so that 2018 tour, which was the Come Tomorrow tour, it was his first full year with the band, and so it probably must have been difficult for Dave to write and compose set lists that, were as conducive to the entire catalog as he could this year, just because of Buddy's, he's been with the band obviously for 5 years now. And so, what I liked, I thought the new songs this year really, really worked. And I think I liked the actual album better, in 2018, Come Tomorrow, but I thought the songs translated live a lot better this year.
I agree. And I think that that's super smart what you said about Buddy is the last, album year, 2018, that was his first year. So he just naturally couldn't have been as comfortable as he is 5 years later. And so, yeah, I think this year he really shines. But again, right before we got into this interview, I went to YouTube and I looked specifically at 2018 shows to see, did Buddy change personality wise? Like, is he giving us more than he did in his first year? And my personal opinion is no way. He was giving it to us on day one, like he was the last time he played with us. He has such an energy. And I think, yes, he's become more familiar with their catalog because he's had to. But I think as far as like a personality and all that he creates on stage, I think that it's been the same from day one.
Agreed. I couldn't agree with you more, Renae. And, since Buddy joined in 18, him being such a talented musician, it's hard for someone to notice, like if he was struggling to learn the catalog. And I think he verbally expressed that it was such a big catalog and it took him a couple of years to kind of learn it all. But I mean, as an outsider, as a fan, you really didn't know that because, like you said, his energy was just so high and he's just so talented. And then if you think about, the alternate format, he stepped in and, he sat down on the drums when Carter had COVID and it just showed how, I mean, he's a prodigy. And I think, he's such
a flexible musician. He can do it all.
And, you couldn't tell if he even missed a beat on a song because, like you said, his energy and, I mean, he has a smile. He has a smile like Carter the entire show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's contagious. I mean, that is a word that I think is very fitting for Buddy.
And I think, especially this year, the band itself I think it really found its identity. I think it found its identity from where they were and then obviously replacing Boyd, but I think the band is in a better place than I've ever seen them in quite some time, probably since when I started seeing them in the early years. And I thought they were at a really good place in like 2012. But you can see by their energy and their song selections that, Buddy is now a key component of this band and it shows. It shows by their set list and it shows by their energy. I mean, like Sloan said, the second half of this tour was just unbelievable. I haven't seen anything like it.
Well, he grew up in the church. He cut his teeth playing music in church, and it seems like a lot of musicians, especially studio musicians, which that's Buddy's a very, very prominent studio musician in the Black gospel music scene, and so I mean he plays on so many records, and I think that growing up in that church environment, you number one, you have to play multiple instruments. You have to be well versed in all the instruments. I think he may originally have been a drummer. I'm not totally sure, but
that's what I heard.
Yeah. And so him cutting his teeth as a musician in church, I really think got him ready for that COVID year at Gorge, where the alternate format, where they just had to piece a band together and give the fans a show. And from everything I've heard, that Gorge was just as unique as any other one, if not more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Agreed.
once in a lifetime show for sure.
Some of those songs, I think that, Dave played solo and things like that, and even Buddy said on the drums, like, we're never going to see that style, that format ever again. But they improvised and they made it work, and it was just an incredible weekend. And then, Buddy coming from, playing with Usher and Ariana Grande, it just shows, and I don't know, was it Rad that kind of put that together with Buddy?
It was Rashawn, I'm sure. Rashawn has a role in this band that you'd never would thought would have happened, but he seems to kind of be Dave's right-hand man in terms of where to take song arrangements, or, where to add different pieces to the band. I know for the Hollywood Bowl shows last year, Rashawn kind of ran with the ensemble in terms of drawing a blank on
the symphony for sure.
The symphony. He kind of pieced it all together and kind of ran with that. And so, because I know Rashawn had played with Usher too and Ariana Grande, and so I'm sure there was some crossover with him and Buddy there. But Rab, I'm not sure. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it one bit. Rab's
right. I mean, they're so connected.
Yeah, Rab's everywhere.
Happy birthday, Rab! Shout out.
Oh yeah, birthday boy. But I think he started working with Trey, and you see, him posting all the time of being at different shows and working with different artists. And, he works with Brandy.
Yeah. Obviously, he's the best in the business for a reason, and and he's obviously helped Dave's voice tremendously over the years.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. So let's compare songs from 2023, 2018. Let's go back as far as we can. Have you seen some movement or some change in lyrics or music when it goes from album to album? Are they staying kind of true to themselves, or with the rest of us, are they continuing to get older? Therefore, what they're talking about changes.
For me personally, I felt, bands evolve. And, obviously losing Boyd and adding Buddy and things like that, bands evolve. And you look at any band over time here, they evolve. For me, the 2023 album, I thought lyrically was incredible. And you saw Dave, kind of put a little vintage vibe in. I felt there was some songs that had a little Floyd vibe, a little Beatle influence. So for me, I felt it was a lot similar to, some of the older albums, but obviously it was a new taste and a new sound. But I love the new album. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean the album this year, it was amazing. I mean, we've been hearing Madman's Eyes for a couple of years, but songs like Looking for a Vein we didn't really get to hear until the actual album. And to me, that's one of the standout songs, at least that translated live. It's definitely a smaller song, but I don't know. That song really, really captivated me this summer. And I thought that I'm now blanking on all the songs from the album. Hold on.
Same, but I think that album it was very emotional. I think it was from the heart. And that's just shows Dave's ability to write lyrics like so well. It was definitely emotional. The album didn't seem angry at all. It was very loving.
Well, to me, if there has to be a word or like an adjective that like describes the album, I think there's so much concern for what's happening right now. Like that is what I picked up on in this album, and I think that holds true to kind of who he is as a person. Anyways, is just literally concerned with things that are going on in the world, whether that's mental health, because again, I've talked about monsters in the past and how I think that kind of, if it's not, Dave Matthews, call me and tell me it's not, but like I believe that song really kind of does dig into mental health. And so, I think this band has such a way of timing everything, and maybe it's all coincidence, but I just won't believe that. But when they drop music, the music that they drop is so relevant for the time. And I don't know if it's because we're all kind of the same age, and so it seems relevant because we are, or if that's true, that they really kind of take what's going on right now and it just fits into place wherever it lands. I mean, what are your thoughts as far as like, do you think album years, the songs that have come out, have really kind of explained what the world is looking like at that time?
Definitely. I mean, I say this all the time, but he's the best at putting things into words that I can really understand. And through his songwriting, it helps me kind of get a better understanding of like gun violence, mental health, things like that. Like Madman's Eyes, you really dig into what he's talking about. And, he says it's not about gun violence, but he's a troll. So we've kind of already established that. But, and if you go and you watch the Howard Stern performance of him doing it solo, it really is evident to kind of see where he's coming from with that performance. And, he just, I don't know. He did it with Dive In on Big Whiskey too, with global warming, and the way that he, paints the picture of global warming in that song just really was easy for me to understand. And so if you haven't dug into the lyrics of Dive In, I challenge you to go do that. It's an amazing, amazing song.
Yeah. And I think it, a lot of his albums allow you to build that emotional connection with, current issues, whether or not you want to believe that or not. But I think he really, really touches on the light of current issues. And so people can relate to it,
Right.
both mentally and emotionally.
Absolutely. So guys, in closing, we've had such a fabulous year. 2023, again, will be a year that each of us remember, and probably for different reasons. But again, we've kind of talked about some of the same reasons, right? Because it was just such a magical year, I feel like.
Well,
what do you want to say that you haven't said?
Looking at this whole tour and kind of putting everything together, obviously, Renae, I've been on this a couple of times now, but I really think over this, period of this year, we've got to know you as a person, and, you've done shows with us, and I really appreciate your friendship, and, you started to do shows with us, and I thought you brought some great energy and dynamic to our group, not just our group, but the whole community, the podcast, everything. And, it's been anything but short, but been spectacular. So again, I want to thank you for, everything that you bring.
It's been amazing, right? Like if you're listening to this, Kyle was on my very first episode. Well, there's a teaser that's kind of the first, but like season 1, episode 1, Kyle is on it. So if you haven't gone, I have so many episodes now. I think we have like 60. And so go back, Kyle and then you can kind of compare what he's saying then to now. And honestly, Kyle, I think your passion.
It's probably the same.
I agree. I think your
same.
passion has elevated. It can continue to do so. But I think each year your fanhood grows. And so it's been fun to watch you. And I caught you one of the shows this year. And I said, I don't remember where we are. I want to say we were, it doesn't matter. I said, Kyle, I like you because you can talk Dave to me. And not a lot of people can do that. We're like, I want statistics. I want to know like all the things. And you're able to do that. So thank you for kind of making me smarter when it comes to Dave Matthews Band. It's been so much fun to do all of this.
Yeah. And even Sloan being in Maui, like obviously dials in every Friday and like listens to the whole show, the entire show, and is texting us while we're at the show as if he's there, because I know he's got FOMO. But obviously Sloan's a huge part of the community and our circle and things like that. So even though he's not there, we feel him there.
Renae, what you're doing for the community, Renae, and that was really sweet of you, pup. I appreciate it and love you. But Renae, what you're doing for this community and how you're kind of presenting the fans' perspective versus just getting on and just talking stats and stuff like that, I think is really unique, and having, different themes to each episode and kind of having an overall mission as well as individual little small goals that you're meeting within each podcast, I think is super unique. And it seems to be catching on, and, I'm super stoked for you, and I know, our crew is, and, it was great to meet you, and, very happy to be on here with you guys.
Thank you guys both so much. And again, this podcast truly is, and I want it to continue to be, the story of the fans behind the Dave Matthews Band. And while we all have that common thread that we do indeed love this band, if it's not our favorite band, I can only speak for me, it is my favorite band. But behind the band, the people that have either been here for a month and have just discovered the music or have been here since day one in the early 90s. For the most part, it's just a contagious group of people who really do strive to leave the world in a better place than where they found it, to love on others, and to make sure that, we're just doing something with our lives. And so that's kind of what I found in these people. And it has become contagious for me because when you surround yourself with people that get it, how can it not be, right? How can it not be? So, that is the story that I'm writing. I think that it's important that when we look back in this time of when our children and our children's children look back on musical influences, not only will it just be these bands that have changed our lives, but also like the support that they had around them, because ultimately that is why they're successful. Yes, they're musicians and they could go off and do other things.
They're kind of
However,
good.
with they're amazing, but
They're
kind of good.
loved and adored by so many people, and I feel like that's just a whole separate story. And so, yes, while I love statistics and I love talking about the Dave Matthews Band, what I love is the story of finding people. How did you find this band, and why are you still chasing them after 32 years? And so, guys, thank you so much for being on another episode. Again, if you are just listening to this, just know that you can watch this and you can see everyone's faces and funny things that we do from time to time. And so you can watch it on our YouTube channel, The Space Between.
I'll bend more.
See, these are the reasons why you should be watching it on YouTube. So if you're not, guys, be sure to show it all the love on social media. Guys, peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band. Thank you guys so much for being on this episode.